Hello friends, my name is Uglyfish, welcome to my channel, and today I'll be beginning a playthrough of Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town, a game which was kindly bought for me for my birthday by my sister, so thanks very much Jen. Story of Seasons is the rebranding of the Harvest Moon series, and Friends of Mineral Town is a reimagining of the game with the same name that was first released for the Game Boy Advance. You might have seen from the home screen, I have actually started to play this game before. I really messed up, it was totally unsalvageable. So I will be restarting the game today. This is by no means going to be a perfect playthrough because there's still lots of things I don't understand. I will also say from the start, it's very difficult for me to play a game like this now, even though Harvest Moon was the OG, without comparing it to Stardew Valley. In fact, the reason I play a lot of these games is to try and find a Stardew Valley replacement. You can see where Stardew Valley took their inspiration from. You can also see what Stardew Valley did better. I'm going to very quickly skip through the opening scene, but it's a typical story. You've been left a farm by your grandpa, you're from the city, you've never farmed before, who knows what's going to happen. Grandpa didn't really put much effort into keeping the field clean, did he? This is the mayor. He's just given me a little brief introduction of how I've been here before, asking me if I do want to take the farm. Now, as I said earlier, this is a restart of the game for me. I really messed up last time. One of the main reasons was this is not an easy game to make a profit in initially. The first thing that you can get is turnips. They take 4 days to grow. That's fine. I didn't do that, and it meant that I was about 3 weeks behind in terms of profit. The game was too slow. I'd missed out a lot of things. Now that I know, I'm looking to start again, and the plan is to make 3,000 gold so that I can purchase, by the end of the first week, the extra inventory space, which gives you double the amount of tool space and double the amount of item space. So very quickly, this is my house. Watching the telly, same as Stardew Valley, you can learn the weather, you can learn recipes, you can get information on the day. You have a fatigue meter in the top corner and an energy meter as well. Fatigue's represented by the happy face, energy is represented by the fruit. Both will decrease as you do actions. Both are replenishable. If you run out of energy, you can carry on with the day, you just can't do anything else. If you get fully fatigued, which I haven't done yet because I'm too scared to do it, you keel over. Zach will buy and sell things that I make on my farm. You can sell almost anything, you won't necessarily get a lot of money for it. You put it in the shipping bin, Zach will collect it at 6 or 5 PM. If you miss that time, it doesn't get sold until the next day. It doesn't get sold in your sleep, which was also quite frustrating. Right, I'm going to stop rambling now and I'm going to stop rushing as well. I know that the first thing I want to do from previous experience is clear this area and plant turnips there. Another mistake I made was, on the floor there is grass, rocks and wood. I would just pick up the rocks and the sticks and sell them. What you're actually supposed to do is use a tool on them and convert them to another material, and then this can be used to expand your house, expand your animal buildings, and because I didn't do that, it meant that it took me up until maybe the middle of summer before I could do very basic upgrades. So I learnt from that mistake. I'm still not sure what the point of the grass is though. I'll probably learn that on my third playthrough. Then you can hoe the land, prepare it for the seeds. Sometimes hoeing the land can give you things. There's a little mole that's been revealed there. Other times you can get items, you can get kinds of grasses, you can get money sometimes. Each hit of the tool takes up around 2 energy, so combine the hoeing alongside the rocks. I've already used quite a bit. Luckily, what I've just found there in the ground is a power fruit, and that's increased my energy by 15 points, which is around an extra 7 actions. I'm just going to also collect from my fruit tree. The grapes are useful for me for energy. The honey is a fantastic gift. Almost everyone in the village quite likes getting a little gift of honey. So here I'm just going to introduce myself to as many people as I can. This is the blacksmith who will upgrade my tools and give me some new ones. He's also got a grandson, I think, called Gray, but I'm not sure where he is. Time has passed a little bit faster than I thought. Every 4 seconds in real life is 10 minutes in game. All that work I did on the farm this morning, I am now in a little bit of a rush, so rather than introduce myself to everyone, I'll just take you through the map very quickly. There's my farm, there's a hot springs where I can restore health, there is a lake that I don't know what you do with it yet, there is a mountain top that I don't know what you do with it yet, and then to the east of my farm you have got the workshop and you've got buildings which sell livestock. The plaza is where events are held, the beach sometimes hosts events as well. The nature sprites are very important, I will get to them in another video. And then at the top, you've got residential and shopping areas. So the general store is where I'm headed to. Off to buy myself some turnip seeds. There's usually a few of the women of the town in there as well, so I'll just go and introduce myself to some people. There's Marie, who runs the library. There's Karen, who I think maybe is the daughter of the shop owner. I don't know who Anna is, but hello Anna. And finally, we've got Jeff, who I will buy the seeds from. So you can initially buy 4 packs of turnip seeds, and every packet of seeds will cover 9 tiles. Turnips grow within 4 days, and they make you a decent profit, so although potato seeds take a little longer and do get you a better profit, at this stage in the game, turnips are the thing you want to be focusing on. I've jumped back to the farm very quickly. One of the really good things about this game is if you have too much stuff in your pockets and you can't buy anything else, rather than refusing it to you, they will just send it home. And that is so incredibly helpful. And I think it works both ways. If you go to, say, the workshop to have your house upgraded, you don't have to carry the materials to the workshop either. They'll take them straight from your inside storage. Here comes Zach to pick up things. I've got nothing to give him today, I don't think. Try raising some chickens. If someone gave me some chickens, Zach, then I could raise some chickens. But right now, I'm a good 970 gold away from chicken ownership. So, not such a helpful hint right now. Most villagers in the game aren't particularly helpful, to be honest. I didn't speak to a lot of them. Whereas in Stardew Valley you could sort of have a meaningful relationship with everyone. There are a fair few characters in this game, and I would say sadly the majority of them being the women, who you can't really have a relationship with other than gossiping. They don't seem to have any kind of characteristic, any kind of interest and personality, and it is a real shame. It might just have been because I didn't give them enough gifts in my first playthrough, but it's a criticism I've seen from a few other people. I do eat a little grape there because I was running out of energy, but it's my first day's work done. The turnips are watered, and you can see how much time that took me just to do that simple task. I'm going to swap some of my tools out because I'm going to go on and explore. But another mistake I made in my first playthrough was as soon as I could, I filled the field with seeds. And there were days where I didn't even finish watering them. And that is because you are not expected to water every plant. You are instead expected to make friends with the nature sprites, people in the house at the top corner that I mentioned before. You befriend them, you play games with them, and they will do certain chores on your farm for you. Until then, I'm just going to sit in the hot spring. The hot spring fully replenishes, as long as you stay in it for long enough, your fatigue and your stamina, but time does still pass by. In most interiors, time will stop, but because the hot spring is counted as exterior, you just have to sit there and watch the clock tick. If you press any button, you're kicked out of the hot spring. It can be quite tedious. It would have been handy, although this is such a silly petty complaint, to have a button that you can press and hold and it can speed through until you're full. It also doesn't automatically kick you out when you're full, so you can just sit there and waste time if you don't notice. But that's kind of on you if you don't notice that your energy meter's filled. One thing I am going to say while we're talking about time though, and I didn't try this on my first playthrough, Portia has a sleep time, Stardew Valley has a sleep time. I would quite like to see if at any point in the night I'm just going to automatically keel over and get sent to a bed, and if there's any repercussions from that. On the last playthrough I did of the game, I assumed that there was, and I think the latest I stayed out was 2 o'clock to match up with Stardew Valley. Now, because it's only day 2 and there's not going to be much consequence, I'm not going to lose anything interesting in my inventory if I was to keel over. I'm going to give it a go and see how late I can stay awake. Okay, so it got to 2 hours later, and I've just had the little animation that shows that my fatigue is getting bad. So I know that going to bed, waking up the next day, doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to be fully replenished. And that will just waste time tomorrow if I've got to start off the day by sitting in the hot springs anyway. So I'm going to push this a little bit more, and then I'm going to run to the hot springs, have a sit in that, maybe just stay in there all night, because even if I do keel over and fall asleep, at least I'll be fully replenished for the next day. If I don't keel over and fall asleep, I'm going to be fully replenished for the next day. So, got myself fully replenished, but I had a thought while I was sitting in the hot springs. The day restarts at 6 o'clock. I'm going to say there's no repercussion for staying awake all night, but I am going to go and fall asleep because I'm worried that if I don't, the fruit tree and the field and things like that won't reset. I'm going to quickly throw the grass into the shipping box just to clear up the inventory space, really, because I don't need it. And then, look, I've pushed it so late. It's 5:10. I think I'm going to call it a night. One last check to see if any fruit. No. Nothing's respawning, and I can't guarantee it will happen dead on 6. So, sleepy time it is. Brand new day, fully replenished. Let's go. Ah, this is the reason. This man here, Huang, is the reason that I ruined my last game. Huang runs a shop on the beach. It's a great shop, and the things that he sells are fantastic, but I spent my first 500 gold on one packet of seeds from him that didn't grow for about 20 days. So this time round, I've done the sensible thing, got my turnips, which I don't need to water today because it's raining, thank God. I am going to clear the field up a little bit though, just to make more space for crops. When I get a profit, I'll buy some more seeds. And then we'll see where the day takes us. Well, the day obviously took us to the hot springs because I'm going to run out of energy. Just picked up there though a little bit of grass, and this is a great gift for the nature sprites. The idea is that you give them grass the same colour as them, and that will increase your friendship with them. Get them to do all the dirty work on the farm instead. The grass is seasonal, so certain colours once it gets to summer won't necessarily be available. So instead I'm going to try and stock up all on it now. I'm also not going to go to the hot springs though. I'm going to go and say hello to people in the town before I run out of time. Going to pop back into the forge and see if Grey's in. That's not Grey. That's Rick, who looks so familiar. But I can't think why. Oh, I'm not allowed in Grey's room either. That was presumptuous of me. Gonna pop into the chicken shack and say hello to Potpourri and Lilia. I really like their hair. Again, not going to give any of these gifts though because I'm going to save them for the nature sprites. Instead, I'm just going to introduce myself. Oh, now this was something that I didn't learn until very late in the game. Once you've introduced yourself to him, the next sunny Wednesday, possibly, after you've spoken to him, he will give you a horse. You look after the horse for a few months, and then if you do a good enough job, he lets you keep the horse, and you can use it to ride around the town and get to places faster on. So the sooner I can start that, the better. This is the church, but I'm not going to go in. I'm instead going to go and say hello to my best friends. So here they are. Here are the nature sprites, as the tutorial says. You make friends with them, and they will do chores for you. You can give them a gift a day. And then you can also, once you're good enough friends with them, play games, which not only increases your friendship with them, but increases the efficiency at which they do the chore you've asked them to do. So, I initially thought maybe the colour of them represented like aqua, you would assume would be a watering sprite, but I think any of them can do anything, so I'm just going to try and make friends with as many as I can. If you don't have grass the same colour as them, honey works as a great gift as well. I might try giving this purple one some grapes, seeing as they're the same colour as them, see if it has the same effect. Oh no, he hates them. His name's Plum and all. I don't know why I said that, as if grapes and plum have some kind of beef in the fruit world. Gonna leave the sprites, gonna jump into the church as well and say hello to some people. Maybe say hello to one person, because where was the rest of the congregation? I do remember about this little gem on the gravestone actually. I'm not sure what it's for, don't know the purpose of it. I imagine it's very handy. I have skipped over a very brief cutscene here that introduced me to Ellie, the doctor's nurse, who you can see on the left, and a young boy called Yu, who was a bit of a troublemaker. Instead, I wanted to speak to the doctor. He's given me an exam and told me exactly what I knew anyway. I don't really know the point of that. He told me I was low on stamina and high on fatigue. I paid a third of my gold for that. Going to ignore the doctor's advice to buy his supplements and just sit in the hot springs for 6 hours instead. And then it's getting a little bit late. There's no one else I can introduce myself to. There's nothing I can do on my farm, but I will have full energy. So as soon as I get full energy, let's go and have a look at what else there is to play with. I know what I'm going to do. This is the only way I made money on my last game. This is the mine. Similar to Stardew Valley, you're going to find a bunch of rocks that you can hit to find different ores and items. And then if you use your tools on the floor as well, you'll be able to find ladders and holes to delve further into the mine. It is quite an energy intensive process this, because you have to use your hammer on the rocks and also your hoe on the floor. And once you leave the mine it resets, so you can't make progress, leave the mine, sit in the hot springs and enter again. Because it is an interior as well, time stops, so you can spend all day here getting lower and lower. I'm not going to do that though because I don't have the energy or the tools. I'm just going to keep popping in and out, resetting the rocks and collecting different kind of ores until I've got enough to be useful and to make a profit with. The profit you do make from copper ore though is minuscule. What its best use is, even though you can only do it once, is to upgrade your tools. That way they get stronger, sometimes they use a bit less energy. Sometimes it gives them a wider area of effect, so having a lot of copper to do your upgrades with is handy. And you can make a bit of money from it too. 4 short hours later, we have fallen foul of the small stacks and tiny inventory space. Inside your inventory, things will only stack into 9s. So until you get that bag, you run the risk of your inventory filling up incredibly quickly, particularly in the mine. And I'm honestly not sure of the reasoning, because inside the shipping bin and inside your storage in your house, things will stack much higher. So I don't know why inside your bag, other than realism I suppose, you can't use big stacks. Now, it's reaching the end of day 2. I'm going to keep working all night again, probably. Mixture between the field and maybe another trip until the mines. But I think I've made some really good progress, especially compared to my first game. So, I am going to sign off here. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this content and want to see more of Story of Seasons, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you've got any tips or helpful hints for me to play the game better, please let me know in the comments below. And until next time, bye!